Welcome to the 2023 Economic Preparation and Depression channel. Thank you for joining me on this Monday edition. Happy Labor Day, September 4th, 2023. And we appreciate everyone for listening and subscribing to this channel, Preach to Me, and the support during the last couple of years that we've been together. So today, just briefly, we're going to talk about the increasing cost, the increasing input cost, the salary needed to survive in every U.S. state, according to one article, and the looming strikes that, with these different unions in America and elsewhere, and the effects of the food supply being these recalls. I don't know if you guys seen it, the recalls with some of this Trader Joe's food and also with some of this frozen chicken strips recall. It may not necessarily be related to the supply chain shock, but just looking at the statistics, that's also going to have an impact on this economy too. If we can't get quality goods and services in our food, gas. There was another situation in Florida during Hurricane Idalia that they mixed up the diesel and the gasoline with the regular gasoline, and there was like over 50 gas stations on the west coast of Florida, in the Big Bend and also down through the Tampa area, that a lot of people were affected by that, and a lot of cars were ruined by that, and the governor had to issue a statement. So we're going to talk about that. So right now, let's look at it. We have the average salary a single person needs to get by in every U.S. state. This is by CNBC.com. There's 16 states where you need to earn more than $70,000 U.S. dollars to be financially, quote, secure. Now, we know this has been going up. Now, right now, wages have been sort of keeping pace with inflation, but not really. You know that inflation is around 4%, which is not terrible, but it's sticking between 4 and 5%. And this is concerning not only for President Biden, but it's also concerning for Congress, for the Federal Reserve Bank, for Republicans. Everybody's worried about this because inflation hasn't stuck around this long at this levels for quite some time, over 20 years. So that's the issue. Now, the wages, whether or not wages will keep up, that's a very big question mark right now. So far, they've been trying to, but if you're living in the most 5 expensive states like Hawaii, Massachusetts, California, New York, Alaska, and I would include the Maryland, D.C. area, and Chicago and Houston area as well, and this Miami area as well in this list. Listen, the cost of living is going up, but the salaries that you needed are not matching. Right now, you may think 100K, 112K is a lot in Hawaii, but Hawaii is expensive. We know California, 80K is not really going to cut it, especially if you want to live a decent lifestyle in San Diego, LA, or even the Bay Area. New York, 73K. Alaska, 71K. We know that these numbers are low on the low end scale, compared to what really going on. So the wages are not going to keep pace. And this article's been showing that. And I know that and we both know that the cost of living adjustments, whether you're getting retirement, Social Security, federal benefits, state benefits, pensions, law enforcement pensions or teacher pensions, whatever the case may be, single people are making sacrifices to get by. Remember Dave Ramsey's budget with that 50-30-20 stuff? That was a step, but it isn't always a realistic measure of what we can afford as a household costs have gone up. Car insurance is going up, and we know that house property insurance is going up, especially in states like Florida, Illinois, Texas, these states that people are moving to, in Arizona, these household insurances are going up. So the expenses are going up, the insurances are going up to insure these cars, these houses, and median home prices are continuing to rise. At the same time, mortgage rates are at 8%, and stuff like that. So a lot of people are saying, okay, I want to move to the South. Let's say you move to Alabama or Kentucky, where the average living wage for a single person, you only need 46K to 50K, right? Well, that sounds fine and dandy. But then for those people who do move to these states where they have a lower cost of living, like in the deep South or in the Midwest, then it becomes an issue of the commuting time, because a lot of people they work remotely, but it's kind of semi-remotely, quasi-remotely. So you still have to have a commuting time to get to any goods and services of about an hour or more in some of these states in Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, and then that becomes a crowding issue, because a lot of people are moving to the same states basically in the Sun Belt, guys, from Georgia to Texas to Kentucky, all those areas, Tennessee, the mountains, eastern Tennessee. I heard a lot of people mention that too as well, and that's fine and dandy. But the cost of living is going up everywhere in all of these states. The average living wage needed for a single person or a married person, let alone, is double that wage. You might as well double that, and it's coming 2.5 times. This times that by 2.5 times if you're married with kids, 1, 2, 3 kids. So that's the case. And with the strikes looming at the General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, giving the United Auto Workers audacious demand. So every time we have these strikes. California resolved their strikes. That's the good news with the Longman Shoreman's, the shipping port, the port of Long Beach, was California, which is one of the largest shipping ports. They resolved their strike. Now we have the United Auto Workers who are striking. And this is going to be a cost of the thing. This is going to be a heavy cost on businesses because they want a 46% pay raise. 32-hour week with 40 hours of pay. They want a restoration of traditional pensions. We know traditional pensions are on their way out. Defined benefit plans are on their way out. Defined contribution plans are on their way in, where they get you kind of like in a stock or a Vanguard or a 401k based on that type of stuff. And so the strike could be affect over 146,000 members against the backdrop of increasingly emboldened U.S. unions of all kinds. And this is a thing that's going to be very interesting to see as we transition to more of a automation, technocratic economy, meaning that the robots and AI and automation, how do these union workers fit into that equation? Where do they go? Where are the jobs going to come from? In the steel belt, in the rust belt, and these other places in the U.S., are they going to let these workers go? Are they going to pay them unless it's a salary? That remains to be seen in the U.S. markets. Now, another thing, too, is the food supply is going down tremendously. The quality of the food. When you go out to eat at these places, at a barbecue place or at a Panera, at a vegan restaurant, or any restaurant you go to, the quality and the portion size of the food is getting smaller, but the price still remains high. For a family of 3 or 4 going out to eat in any of these fast food joints or any of the mid-tier joints, like a Texas Roadhouse or whatever you have in your area, Olive Garden or whatever, you have in your area, it can easily end up being $50, $60 or more. And it's just crazy. Now we have recalls. Trader Joe's recalled a bunch of stuff. Now we have over 245 pounds of Banquet frozen chicken strips recalled over plastic concerns. So now there's not only forever chemicals in our water supply, our tap water. Now we got recalls going on with chicken strips. Last week it was the frozen berries that at Costco and Trader Joe's. Some of these blackberry strawberry mixes that we a lot of us use to make our smoothies and stuff. They were recalled, and so we have to be very careful with this because recalls are going to be coming in a lot of different products of food, because that's what's going to be happening. So Banquet chicken is recalled. We've had Trader Joe's recalled stuff. We've had the recalls of a lot of the fruit, berries, and all of that. And then last year we had a lot of recall of the lettuces and different things of that nature. So I want you to be very cautious when you're doing your prepping and preparing. Be very cautious where you get your produce. I usually go to I've been starting to go more to like local farmers markets, stuff like that for my produce, because the produce at Aldi's and different places like that, Aldi's or Lidl, they're not as quality and they don't tend to last as long, unfortunately. Let me know your experience with that. Even at Walmart, some of the produce there don't last as long. You can see the visible rotting of the avocados, tomatoes, and those things. So when you're doing your prepping, you want to try to go to local farmers markets if you have that in your area, or places where you can go to, apple orchards or whatever, in your area, to do that, because our food supply is definitely getting compromised here and on the national level here. So that's all I want to say for today. Enjoy your holiday. Be blessed. Thank you for your working service, whatever you may be doing for the country. We thank you for it. And we'll talk to you very soon here coming up this weekend about earnings and other things that may be pressing as we get into September. Beware the eyes of September if you're in the stock market or trading, because September is traditionally a downer month in the later months for the stock market. But we'll see how it does this time around. God bless. Talk to you soon.